I have an ability to see through people, to read between the lines. And those of us that have that ability, there are benefits that come with that, but at the same time, a negative effect of that is that you tend to overthink. Now, overthinking, you need to be able to manage. As long as over-analyzing and overthinking doesn't affect you negatively to where maybe it has an impact on your self-confidence, your self-respect, then analyzing is okay to have an understanding of a given situation. Now, I'm going to overanalyze here to give details on this experience as best as possible because I'm sharing that with those watching. Now, I put myself out there. I enjoy developing connections with people when it does happen. It doesn't happen often, it doesn't happen easily, but for me it has to happen naturally. I don't want to feel that I'm trying too hard and I'm pushing myself onto someone. But my friends are having small talk with these two girls, and I'm standing observing. I didn't want to get into the way. Didn't want to cock block or intrude, but I was trying to listen, and it was very loud in there, a lot of commotion, people chattering, music, TVs on in the background. And for me, these types of places aren't ideal to meet people. I mean, it happens, and when it does happen, it's great when you get to make connections with people, genuine connections, not just surface level small talk that doesn't go anywhere. You talk to the person maybe for a few minutes, and then and the other person knows that it's not going anywhere. You're never going to see or hear from that person again. But one of our friends, he had an hour drive, so he had to leave early. He said bye to all of us, to the girls and to my friend and I. And I sort of took his place, you could say. They had introduced me to the girls as well, and I spoke to one of the cousins as my friend was speaking to the other, and I tried having a meaningful conversation with her, but again, it wasn't easy to. And I told her that I wanted to talk to her, but it wasn't easy for me to hear what she was saying. I couldn't easily carry on a conversation with her because of how many distractions there were going on around us. And she had agreed. Soon after, they both had to go, and we said bye. And then we start walking towards the back of the bar, and there's this tabletop. Now, on one side of it, there are two other females, must be friends, talking. One taller brunette, and then a shorter one. Now, wouldn't you know, of course, my friend goes up to them and starts chatting them up. And I'm next to him, I'm just observing. And it felt awkward for me. It really did. When I feel that a conversation is being forced, it puts me in an awkward state. Now, the taller one, she seemed to be fairly receptive to him. She made eye contact with him. She seemed to have acknowledged what he was saying. And now I, for the life of me, can't remember exactly what was being said, but it didn't last long. It didn't go anywhere. And overall, you could tell that there wasn't a strong interest that she had in talking with him. And I'm looking at the shorter girl, and she seemed agitated. She had a certain look on her face. She seemed bothered by the fact that my friend came up and started talking to her friend while they were having a conversation. She had probably felt that he was intrusive. And I don't like to bother anybody. And that's another reason why I don't just walk up to people randomly as though I know them. I'm not rude by any means. If someone is going to come up and talk to me and be polite, then I'm going to be polite in return, of course. Oh, there's some dog running and the lady's chasing after him or her. And I knew from the get-go that the short one, she had a bad attitude that night, and that definitely pushed me away from her. But I was looking at her, and sure, she's attractive, but that all diminishes when a female has a bad attitude, and you can tell. Now, I didn't confront her. I didn't say anything to her. She didn't say anything to me, but then my friend, after he stopped talking, their conversation phased out. Him and the tall female. And then my friend walked away to talk to some other people. And I didn't want to follow him around, so I just stood on my own at that tabletop. Had my beer in one hand and was looking around. And there were a lot of attractive females there that night. And I wasn't harassing anyone, so I didn't see the problem in taking looks, and in a respectful way, but it's normal. I did nothing wrong. I didn't harm anybody. Wasn't harassing anyone. But there's and those of you that are smart know what I'm saying. Males and females watching this, you can relate. You've experienced this before. There's a behavior that, now I'm aiming this towards females, that females project when they don't feel comfortable in a given situation or around a certain person. Here I am standing alone in front of the two girls after my friend had walked away. And the short one, she sort of hinted to her friend, very nonchalant-like. She said, "Oh, hey, let's go move over to this table over here." What does that mean? For some reason, because she knows that my friend was, she saw my friend was trying to, you could say, flirt with her girlfriend. She probably thought that I had the same intentions. I was going to do the same, and I was going to try to talk to them and butt in on their conversation. So she didn't feel comfortable with that. Therefore, she wanted to move to the next table to the right. And of course, her friend followed her. Now that's what females do. And I wasn't sure exactly what to think of it, other than I knew what was going on. So I stayed put, and the two girls, they're sort of looking over observing themselves, looking at my friend and I. And my friend, he starts talking with other females, and my friend and I started interacting with these other two females that were just a lot of fun. They were complete opposite of the other two females. They were in a good mood. They just wanted to have a good time. They were a bit buzzed, and we had a positive interaction with them. It was fun. They were dancing. They were being silly and whatnot. And that was very enjoyable. Now, the two girls, especially the short one, that seemed to have an even worse attitude than her friend, and she was definitely showing it. They were watching us, and they seemed to be upset or offended by it. And they continued to just sort of try to avoid us. Now, typically when females or a female has an interest in you, she'll make eye contact with you. If she catches you looking at her, she'll look at you, she'll smile, she may even, if she's next to you, make a comment, a positive one at that. And these girls were avoiding eye contact with us. Now, I'm observing them to the side of me, to my right. And another pair of girls, must have been friends, they walk up to the table, the same table that the first two girls are at. And they started striking conversation together. It seemed that they had become best friends right away. They were all talking amongst each other. And the girl that I've already described isn't even the worst one. One of the other two girls had the biggest ego that night. And she just wanted to show it. I'm not too sure why. Maybe it made her feel better about herself. And those of you watching, males, females, if you want to share your thoughts on this, and if you want to add comments under the video with substance, feel free to do so. But if you're going to comment like a retard, you're automatically blocked. But why do females like this, some females, act rude when towards a guy that likes them? Just for an ego boost? I mean, what's the benefit? Any of you ladies want to share that, please do. And don't be shy. Don't be shy to do so. Don't be ashamed of it. But this one particular female, she had a problem with me. For some reason, because she caught me checking her out, looking at her friend, looking at the first two girls, looking at other females that were walking back and forth. So she knew that she had leverage on me. She knew that I had an attraction for her. I was giving her my attention. I was looking at her. She caught me looking a few times. And she wanted to take advantage of that. And she wanted to, because of her ego, wanted to make me feel bad for it. And this is normal. It happens, unfortunately, but it's a part of life. There are females out there that behave this way. And guys shouldn't be ashamed either to admit their rejections, to share their experiences of rejection. And it happens. It's happened to many people before, and it always will. There's no way around it, really. But this one, she, whenever she saw me looking at her, she looked at me, looked away. She was avoiding me, avoiding eye contact with me. And I knew, okay, this one, she doesn't like me. She's not being welcoming or warm to me. Now, there's a table in front of me. I'm still standing alone. And all the girls, the 4 girls now you have, walk to the table in front of me. And they're all continuing to laugh, smile, talk amongst each other. They're having a good time with each other. And shortly thereafter, 2 guys, I believe, walked in through the back entrance. Now, this girl, the problem one, she waved one of them down. She got his attention. She's like, hey. And he looked at her, and the guy sat with them. Now, I don't know for sure if they already know each other or if she randomly got that guy's attention and wanted to do so right in front of me, because she saw I was watching. I was right in front of all of them. Of course, you know, they're attractive females, so of course the guys, regardless of whether they, if especially if they didn't know the girls, and the girls giving him attention and wanting him to, or wanting them to come sit with them, of course he's gonna run over and do so. Now, you got these guys and girls all hanging out at the table, and she leans over to one of the guys, and she's looking at me briefly, and I catch her doing so. Then she looks away, and then she's whispering to him, and then the guy looks up at me, and I'm pretty sure she made a negative comment. It's probably better that I don't know exactly what she said about me. Probably not very kind remarks, but she told the guy about me. The guy's looking at me, and the guy didn't say anything to me. He just looked momentarily. And then they all got up shortly after then and started to disperse. But then one of the guys, and this particular female with the big head, the big ego that she wanted to show off that night, I know I gave her an ego boost. I made her feel good about herself because she knew that she got my attention physically just by the way that she looks. She walks to another table off to the side of the one they were all just sitting at, and she starts not exactly twerking but dancing a bit right in front of me, so of course I could see it, and then walks away. And then I stopped looking at her. From that point on, I wanted to forget about her, not think about what had just happened, and I believe she had left, her and her entourage. But what happened that night? I pretty much got rejected indirectly because no words were exchanged between these people and I, this girl and I. But what is the point? The point is, a female's weapon is her ego. Now, we all have egos, but we should all try to control them. Females, ladies watching this, like when you need to turn down a guy, why don't you do so? And I'm talking to the ones that are typically ruthless, that don't seem to care about others' feelings. Why don't you turn down people in a polite way? Yes, it's your right to turn someone down, but why be Why have such a big ego about it to where you have to be defensive, angry, easily offended, rude when you do so? I don't understand it. But hopefully people will engage with this and bring more to light to the conversation.